Hey, Blake T. Wild here, and it's time to talk about the boys. It's been about 4 years since I last covered the first volume, and that was before the show had even come out, and now season 4 is almost out. So, with that, and the release of Genv, I figured it was about time to get back into the boys and cover this second volume specifically, since Tek-Knight may or may not be in season 4 of the boys, but he was in Genv. And I figured, hey, it's the end of the year. Thanksgiving just passed for the Americans. Christmas is coming up for anybody who celebrates that. Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, any other festivities that you may have coming up, where you want to feel good and joyous and cozy inside, and just relax with yourself or your family or your dog or whoever you want to chill with near the end of the year as the new one rolls around. And I figured, that's way too lovey-dovey. Let's get some f***ed up comic books to talk about. So here we are. I'm also thinking of updating my videos a little bit, specifically the video rotation, to have a little more Ultimate Comics in there, and maybe adding a little more of the boys, mayhaps. If this video does well, then I'll cover the boys more often. So share it around, rewatch it, show it to everybody you know. Show it to fans of the show if you know any. I'm sure you do. There's a lot of them. And of course, this episode is brought to you by my Etsy shop, blaketwild.etsy.com, where I am selling all 5 issues of my comic, Destructo Boy. Here they are. Destructo Boy, the Era of Alpha Cardinal, are the first 2 issues, followed by the next 2 issues, which is the story arc, The Eclipse of Googleplex. Topping it all off is Grimlax, the Astro Knight. All issues are about 20-25 pages, average size. I think Grimlax the Astro Knight's about 30-something pages, but they're just fun, sci-fi, zany, epic tales about a little robot boy that lives on a giant space station and fights to save the day from crime, villainy, giant monsters, whatever threats may arise. And right now, I am running a special on my Etsy shop called Destructo Boys Space Age Bargain Blast. 25% off all issues of Destructo Boy. That makes them like $7. That is quite the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Only $7 for an issue of Destructo Boy? Fun for all ages comics. Also, each purchase of any book comes with a free head sketch of any character of your choosing, and I will include it for free inside the book. If you purchase all 5 issues, you're getting 5 characters drawn up. If you purchase 3 issues, you're getting 3, and so on and so forth. So check that sale out right now. It is going until the end of November. And at my Patreon, patreon.com/Smokey'sVideos, I'm not just serializing all the issues of Destructo Boy weekly, but I am also serializing the Custodians Agents of Cross, my 60-page, giant-sized comic that is a love letter to the 60s. It even includes all the fake advertisements that you would see in an issue from the 60s. It is being serialized on there as well. Each week, I post a couple pages on there. I have some commentary, behind-the-scenes information that I write about in the post, so you're getting more content on there, not just the pages. You're getting some insight onto what was going on, what my influences were, stuff like that. Check it out as little as $2 a month over at my Patreon. I'm also doing movie commentaries, behind-the-scenes information and posts on my progress with the other 5 issues of the Custodians. That's right, it's going to be 6 giant-sized issues. And much more over at my Patreon, so check that out. And I'd also like to point out that after 10 years, maybe a little longer than that, I am finally getting a new computer. This one that I'm working on right now, down here, has been just a sinking ship that I've been bucketing water out of for the past several years. And it has just now gotten to the point where it is just seriously affecting my ability to actually work on it and produce videos and content and work on my comics and design work. So I've finally gotten a new computer. I'm building it as we speak. hopefully should be done within the next week or so, and I'll be getting around to just pumping stuff out and getting videos out to you if everything goes according to plan, which I'm sure it will. So if you notice a pause between videos, it's because I'm building that. So that's what I've been dealing with. So hopefully that should be fixed for the new year. 2024, the year of Smokey is what I'm calling it. Alright, let's get into things. Released in 2008, written by Garth Ennis with art by Derek Robertson. This is The Boys, Volume 2. Get some.
I can't stop fucking things. I mean, I'm the Tek-Knight. I'm a fucking founding member of Payback, and I can't stop fucking things.
I'm afraid I don't really follow superheroes. My wife's friend is quite keen, reads all the magazines.
We save the world on a weekly basis.
Interesting that you see yourself in that light.
Oh my god, I knew this was a bad idea. Look, we were out on patrol, right? We had a tip-off that Final Fate was bringing in a terrorist army through the port. Stormfront, Mine Droid, Swatto, and I were on aerial recon. All of a sudden, the fucking thought popped in my head like it was the most natural thing in the world. Man, Mine Droid has a great ass. And then there was another thought. Wouldn't it be great to... Wouldn't it just feel so good?
You did it right then and there.
They suspended me, obviously. Since then, it's been a side of beef, my niece's chinchilla, a fucking hole I found in the wall of my cave. What the hell am I going to do?
Okay, let's go back to these thoughts you mentioned. You described them as overwhelming?
No. Obvious would be better. Like, why on earth wouldn't I do this, you know?
So you have the idea.
And off I go. End of story.
That's really all there is to it?
And I talk dirty when I'm doing it.
So at that stage, there is a sexual element.
A very loud one. Ladio heard me doing the Tech-Mobile up its tailpipe last night.
I'm sorry, Ladio?
My boy's sidekick. Don't even fucking go there.
Well, this is going to take a lot of work. I'll have to go get my appointment book. I'll be right back. I see your problem. Does Friday at 2 work for... It wasn't the cat, was it?
Do you have any burn cream?
Get
anything like that?
Out of my office, and don't ever try to come back. Sometime later, wee Hughie Campbell says goodbye to his adopted pet Gerbil and heads off to work. Hughie arrives at the boys' HQ and finds Frenchie and the female sitting around playing board games and Mother's Milk using the computer getting some information ready. He takes a note of an address, gives it to Hughie along with a bag containing a big leather trench coat, and tells Hughie to meet Butcher at the address in 1 hour. 1 hour later, Billy explains,
So we look like a pack of scary hard fucking bastards.
Will I definitely feel a bit taller? The two then head into a comics, baseball cards, and collectibles store where they find two giant men harassing a geeky guy into leaving. Butcher introduces Hughie to one of the two brothers, and they tell him that he isn't ready for them to meet yet. So the two have a quick look around the store. And it goes exactly how you would expect.
Comics. Public gets to read about soups as thrill and heroics. Highly entertaining, especially if you know the inside scoop. Poof, Dyke, poof, 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 Dyke, poof. Both poofs. She's got a cock. He's in the clan. Captain Date Rape over there. Kitty fucker.
Hey, wait a minute. I know that guy. Didn't he die saving the universe or something?
Showdown come.
Eventually, one of the brothers tells Hughie that they can head downstairs now. The two head down the staircase as Hughie asks who they're meeting. Butcher explains that when they started doing soup comics in the 50s, they needed someone from publishing to run the offices. And this is the guy that they got to do the job. Meaning he knows everything there is to know about superheroes and all their goings-ons, what's really happening behind the scenes. And his name is the Legend. Butcher and Hughie walk in as the Legend is getting his Mjolnir serviced by a prostitute. He shoos her away and hikes up his suspenders. Now, the Legend is an interesting character because pretty much everywhere you look, everyone says he's a parody of Stan Lee. That's pretty obvious based off of his hyperbolic speeches and how he talks and the giant glasses that he wears. But I feel like it's also just Garth Ennis jabbing at the entirety of the early 60s Marvel offices, specifically Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. The Legend is incredibly short, and he smokes a cigar. Jack Kirby was about, 5'4", 5'5", and he smoked cigars. The Legend is also a recluse, like Steve Ditko, and he lives in this little dark hovel of an apartment, like Steve Ditko. So the Legend, while he is primarily Stan Lee, he's all of it mushed together into one. He's Stan Lee, he's Ditko, he's Jack Kirby, and all just rolled into one as one just terrible person. Anyway, the Legend starts going up on his spiel, thinking that Hughie's some fan, but Butcher stops him and explains that Hughie's on the team. And the Legend says that he's glad to hear that they're back in business. Butcher asks why Legend called him, and he explains that his sister's grandson, a gay man, was pushed off of a rooftop 6 months ago. The police refused to look into it any further than they had to, and he hands Butcher a Swingwing comic.
I thought this was Ladio. This punk was the first Ladio. He's since gone on to be Swingwing. You're out of touch, my friend. You better learn to tell your sidekicks from your teen sensations.
Meanwhile, at the Tech Cave.
Hiya, TK.
Hello, Ladio.
What's the matter, big guy? You want to hit the weight room? Good hard workout, really pump away those blues?
No thanks. You go ahead.
Aw, come on. Let's get those juices flowing. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2.
Jesus fucking Christ.
GTK, I can't believe you're sending me out on a hero quest.
It's time you learned what it is to be a man. Time you went out to the world to prove yourself.
And you really want me to visit all the supergroups?
There's a lot they can teach you.
The Seven? The Midwest Guardians? Teenage Kicks? And the Young Americans? Even the G-Men?
G-Men, G-Force, G-Nomads, G-Brits, G-Wiz, every last one of them. Now get going!
That was way too fucking close. That was too close.
In the name of God, isn't there anyone that could help me?
Got an angel to my left, devil to my right. Where you going down?
No one in bold has the right in bold to tell you in bold how to live your life in bold. If you're gay in bold, then that is who you are in bold. And then later one of the kids gets queer bashed and Swingwing goes after the guys and knocks the fuck out of him. I mean, in what fucking weird parallel universe has anything like this ever happened? Comics will rot your fucking brain, mate.
Butcher and Hughie sit at a pizzeria as Butcher reads the files Legend gave them, and Hughie finishes rotting his brain away in that comic. Then Butcher shows Hughie the photo of the Legend's grandnephew, who was apparently in a secret relationship with Swingwing. Butcher says that there's nothing in the file to suggest foul play. Steven Rubenstein never had a history of drugs, alcohol, mental illness, nothing that would really give them any reason to believe that he just committed suicide. But there's also no mention of Swingwing in these files either. Hughie suggests that they just go after Swingwing directly, but Butcher doesn't even know where the fuck to find the guy. Hughie suggests they go and talk to some of Steven's friends, and Butcher then says,
Alright, let's go find this bum chum. Give it a go.
"Do you have to talk about him like that? Bum chum, poof, bent? I don't think it's necessary."
Oh, is that a bad word, is it? I shall endeavour to modify my language to suit your delicate ears. I'm sure you'll let me know if I slip up, Hughie. let's just go.
Meanwhile, at Vernon Manor in upstate New York, Tek-Knight, aka Robert Vernon, begs for his British butler Thomas to stay. Tek-Knight says that it'll never happen again. He's sorry and he doesn't know what came over him. He just doesn't know what's happening to him. Then Thomas the butler turns to him and says that the relationship between a gentleman and a manservant is clear-cut. He will serve meals, lay out attire, announce guests, help him to bed, and be his confidant and, when appropriate, his friend. But what he will not do is be subject to manhandling or physical assault. Thomas leaves and tells Robert Vernon the Tek-Knight that he can rest assured that his secrets will remain safe, then bids him a good day. I like that this obvious Batman parody does have an obvious Alfred Pennyworth parody, but he's not the normal Alfred Pennyworth parody. He's the original Alfred Pennyworth parody. Because if you're unaware, Alfred was originally a portly butler. He was fat. Alfred used to be a fat guy. And he would, like, occasionally solve mysteries, too, like, in his free time. They're really fun comics. If they ever bring, or, when they bring Alfred back from the dead, I think they should bring back the fat version of Alfred and have him solve some mysteries and then, see where that goes. Cut to The Red Rooster, a gay bar. There's also this panel that appears in the next couple pages that I think showcases something quite cool, and it's just a great touch by Derek Robertson, the artist. In this panel of Hughie and Butcher, there's just a random superhero flying through the sky in the background. It's just something that adds life to the world of the boys, and showing there's just superheroes going about their fucking business, doing whatever the hell they're doing. And there's just this one flying above them right now. And it just shows the levels of activity that are in this world, and how the boys are just completely beneath their radar, at least for now. I feel like since in the show, they really lessen down on how many soups there are in the world. I think I just started rewatching season 1, and they say something like, there's 200 superheroes in America, something along that line. But I feel like that's something that they really missed out on, was just have, Butcher and Huey are walking down the street and, like, some superheroes fly by in the background. That'd be neat to see. But this is just something that I really think is just a great touch. It's such a nice detail. It acts as like a foreshadowing moment that there's just superheroes flying around here and there, and they're building themselves up. It's just step after step of the boys involving them in their conflicts with superheroes. I don't know, it just really stood out to me when I was rereading this. Anyway, they head inside and order some drinks, but Butcher only gets a club soda because alcohol upsets his tummy. The barback, Paul Drake, brings them their drinks, and Butcher starts asking about Stephen Rubenstein. Butcher says that they're from London on exchange with the NYPD, and Huey and Butcher then convince Paul that they are constables who want to investigate what happened to Stephen, and they bring up Swingwing. Paul notes that even the NYPD didn't bring up the superhero, and the cops just more or less went through the motions of just getting this investigation over with as quickly as possible. Then the only other patron in the bar, Paul's boyfriend Max, begins speaking about Stephen. Specifically about how fuckable he was. He was young, he was pretty, he used his good looks to, just guys fawning over him all the time. Max is clearly jealous of Stephen. Paul then explains that his boyfriend got jealous of Stephen hanging out with Paul. Huey asks where Swingwing comes into all of this, and Paul reveals that Stephen was a big fan of the comic book, and that Swingwing also appears at community meetings every now and then. But the other one that would show up, oh man, he just couldn't wait to get away from their community events. Tek-Knight. Paul explains how Swingwing would bring Tek-Knight around a few times to the events every other month or so to show that other heroes cared. But Tek-Knight, like most of these superheroes in this early 2000s world, is homophobic. Meanwhile, at the Tech Cave... Come on. What if we're all at some thought event and all of a sudden you've got Black Noir bent over the fucking buffet? I can't see that going terribly well.
I'm on top of it. It's a temporary thing. Fuck! Fine! But just tell me one thing, just who? Who told you? Was it someone in Payback? Did one of those jealous fucks want to stop me from getting a bump up?
Come on, Bob. You know the position's filled.
I didn't think that was permanent. I just hoped,
How the hell did this happen in the first place? What's causing this?
No, might have been when we fought Zotomite, those rays he was shooting. Even the world's greatest detective couldn't solve this fucking mystery.
Alright, look. this for you, Bob. For no particular reason, I'm gonna throw you a bone. You wanna know who told us? It's a little friend of yours.
Ladio?
Not that little. Think about it.
Motherfucker.
Sometime later at the boys' HQ, Frenchie and the female play reverse strip poker as Hughie and Mother's Milk share some of MM's personal bevs. Hughie asks if MM has ever killed anybody, and MM asks if this is about Hughie killing Blarneycock. Then MM reveals that he used to be an Army Ranger, and that yeah, he has killed before. He still remembers them, even the faceless enemies from when he was in the Army. And the superheroes, and the soups, and the collaborators that he's killed since he joined up with the boys. But MM says that he's glad to put those soups down. Hughie says that he was surprised by Butcher being so nice to the gay guys earlier, especially with how he speaks. And MM says that Butcher sees people in 3 categories. Either they are a problem, they can help him, or he wants nothing to do with them. Everything that Billy Butcher says or does is entirely to serve whatever plan he has going on. Sometime later, in Westchester, New York, Hughie, Butcher, and Butcher's dog Terror ride in a cab. They talk about the case that they're currently trying to solve. Hughie couldn't find anything about Swingwing, Ladio's a dead end, and Tek-Knight is a boring dead end. He even has a secret identity. So, Hughie really got nowhere. Butcher tells him that for as long as he can remember, Tek-Knight's just sort of been around, but he's never actually given the boys a reason to go after him. He hasn't done anything morally wrong or debaucherous or murdered people, nothing dodgy or violent or anything like that. He always pulls his punches when fights, and he's just sort of been there. He's too boring, and he's the only one of the big superheroes that the boys have never had to deal with. Until now. Meanwhile, Tek-Knight walks around his manor reading when the doorbell rings. It takes him a second or two to realize that he has to now answer it himself, and he haphazardly hides his armor beneath a tiger skin rug. Then he races to the door to find Hughie and Butcher. Butcher lets himself in, followed by Hughie. Then they enter the library, and Butcher finds a certain book, as Robert Vernon repeatedly says that he is not Tek-Knight. Butcher pulls the book out, and it opens a secret doorway to the Tech Cave. Hughie excuses himself to the tech bathroom as Butcher asks about Swingwing. Tek-Knight says that while Swingwing is gay, he doesn't know if he ever had a fling with Steven Rubenstein. Butcher says Tek-Knight hates gays. Can't even stand being near him. Tek-Knight says that he isn't entirely comfortable with gay people, but Swingwing was his ex-sidekick, and they're still close. Swingwing's agency, the publishers over at Vought, thought that he should be involved with gay groups, and Tek-Knight went along a couple of times to show support. Butcher asks how they find Swingwing. Tek-Knight says that he also needs to find him, but he'll make sure to pass it on to Butcher. Then Tek-Knight informs him that he's just activated the defense grid, and Butcher bids him farewell along with Hughie as they leave through the secret waterfall entrance. Later at the boys' HQ, Butcher and the others try to figure out a way to find Swingwing. Then Hughie checks his phone and finds a message from Paul. Later at the Red Rooster, Max, Paul's boyfriend, reveals that he's the one who sent Steven to Swingwing. He saw Swingwing making his big exit from one of the community events, dove out of the window, and flew away, right up to the roof of a nearby motel. Jetpack fuel is expensive. He can't be shooting around all through the city, so he just flies to the next building over and changes there. About 10 minutes later, a handsome young blonde man carrying a giant backpack left the motel and walked home. Later, Paul told Steven where he can find Swingwing after the events. Max says that he feels terrible for getting Steven killed, and Hughie gets some info and races back to the HQ, where he finds Butcher and the others reading a New York Post titled, "Homo Hero! Millionaire socialite revealed to be Tek-Knight. Tried to rape family butler. Pervert!" MM says that the butler called all the major papers after he quit and had them in a bidding war for the past few days. Hughie asks why Tek-Knight was so pissed if he's gay too. And then Butcher wonders if Tek-Knight got jealous after he saw Swingwing with Steven. Maybe he's the one that killed him. Then Hughie reveals what he learned from the Red Rooster, but Butcher says that now that Tek-Knight has been outed, there's no telling what he'll do. And Butcher also reveals that Tek-Knight isn't even a superhero. He doesn't have Compound V. Never took it. He's just some rich cunt with a supersuit. Later, at the Tech Cave, discretion prevails. Now everyone thinks I'm a fucking faggot. I'm gonna rip his goddamn head off and fuck his neck until he bursts.
I don't know if I like the sound of that.
What the fuck?
Evening, Squire. Hope you don't mind us letting ourselves in. We want another word about Stephen Rubenstein, about what you did to him. Come on, lad. We don't want to do this a hard way.
I fucking do!
Oh, God. Bet you feel like a right cunt right now, huh?
Sometime later, after Tek-Knight wakes up, he says that he doesn't even know who Stephen Rubenstein is, let alone that he killed him. Then he reveals that he told them that Swingwing is gay as a way to get their attention focused on his sidekick. And he also reveals his problem about fucking things, and how Swingwing told Vought and the Seven about it, because he heard that Tek-Knight had a chance of getting into the Seven. And the other reason is because something happened between them involving a soup named the Talon.
It goes back when Swingwing was Ladio. Right back when the early days of the Rogues Gallery. The Talon is one of those people who bounces back and forth between fighting crime and committing it. Ladio, as Swingwing was then, he and I were just chasing after her on some rooftop or other. Eventually, I think we all realized that we were just three friends playing a game, as much as anything else. A couple of years ago, she shows up out of the blue. And to tell the truth, neither of us can really remember if she's supposed to be a good girl or a bad girl this time around. So we just come back here and order takeout, open a couple bottles of wine. No big deal, her seeing the tech cave. She says, "Hey, why don't you give Swingwing a call? Make it a proper reunion, that kind of thing." And it was really good, it was really fun. We talk about old times, call the crazy shit that used to happen. What's going on with the groups, the teams, who's doing what to who, gossip and shit, you know? Swingwing's got some great stories. We have a great time. We're somewhere between tipsy at this point, and I've got finished topping off my glass when I turn around again and see that. And so I think, okay, I'm just gonna get up and leave. Before you know it, part of me can't even believe what's happening, and all I can think is, don't look at his face. Don't look at his face. Do not look at his face.
Oh yeah, suck it, baby! Suck his big fucking bamboo pole!
Things just went downhill from there. Well, you've been a big help. Very enlightening. We can find our way out. Thanks again, fuckmonger. It's Tek-Knight. Alright, so him and Swingwing, they have this threesome with Talon, and afterwards they fall out over her, and have been at daggers ever since. Might explain why the techie's been riding the arse off everything, but I don't think being at one end of a spit roast is enough to do that to you.
It doesn't matter. Look, people love to brand particular people gay. That guy's so gay, he should just admit it, blah blah blah. But all they're trying to do is just look smarter than they actually are. It's no better than when we were wee kids calling each other fruits at school. And that's what we've been doing with Swingwing. We haven't even stopped to consider whether being straight or gay has anything at all to do with his motive. We did the same to Tek-Knight. We saw the headline and thought, oh, well, shit, there's the answer. I think it's time we finally met the cunt.
It's a game of foot, is it?
The next day, at the apartment of Swingwing, Hughie asks the handsome blonde soup what happened to Stephen Rubenstein. Swingwing asks for some kind of ID if they're supposed to be the police. Hughie says that they know that Stephen knew where Swingwing changes out of his suit after the community events. Either he was waiting for Swingwing or he followed him back to his apartment. Swingwing says he doesn't have any idea who that is.
6 months ago, that boy was lying dead on the fucking street. Do you know the look he had on his face? Misery. Not panic, not fear. Misery! Now you tell me what happened that night or I will beat the fucking truth out of you.
Swingwing swings his bag into Hughie, and Butcher tells Hughie to hurry up and get the fucker. Butcher says he'll head up the fire escape as Hughie follows Swingwing up to the roof. Then Butcher just stands there on the fire escape and claims that he can't get up as Hughie tackles the soup. Hughie exclaims that he can't hit Swingwing since he still has super strength, and Swingwing is just a dude. And Butcher shouts that they can't let him get away and just hit him. And then Butcher climbs up the fire escape and congratulates Hughie on a good job. Then he tosses Swingwing against a wall and tells him to start talking.
Jesus, alright. He was hiding on the motel roof and he fucking popped up when I took my mask off. I was annoyed, but he wasn't the first to figure out who I am. So we talked, and surprise, surprise, it's the same old fucking homo bullshit. Oh, he's young. He's just only come out of the closet. His family doesn't know. Yada fucking yada. But the one fucking thing this little twink wants, that there's this guy he really wants. One guy that he just knows he could be happy with if only he had the fucking courage to tell him. So I do my spiel. The same fucking spiel I do every time I'm at the Fudge Packers Anonymous. The same fucking spiel I could do in my goddamn sleep. Steven, you have to talk to him. You have to tell him how you really feel. You're not even 20. I can guarantee you, it's not going to be the end of the world. One way or another, you have to make a move. Okay? It's you.
What?
It's you. You're the one Well, hey, wait, no, listen!
Get off of me! Get the fuck away from me! Get off me, you fucking faggot!
Look! It was an accident! It was a fucking accident! Then why did you freak out so much? You spend all that time around gay people.
He did what these cunts always do. He fucked off.
That's not me! That's Swingwing! He's got the suit, the mask, the fucking jetpack, man! He can fly away! He doesn't have to talk to him any longer than he wants to! With this little fucking prick, he was just right up close, right in my face with that twisted gay shit! All this stuff about me being a gay superhero, it's all Vought's idea! All their publicity bullshit! Oh, Swingwing's gonna be nice to the queers. He's gonna look after that demographic. But no one asked me if that's what Swingwing wants to fucking do. Talk to those little freaks, smile at those disease-ridden fuckers.
Blimey, mate, get up. You've been a bad lad, and you're gonna pay for it. You're gonna keep on being Swingwing. Fight crime, team-ups, go to the gay meetings, all that bullshit soup clout chasing you always do. I have it on good authority that Payback's probably gonna be wanting to replace Tek-Knight real soon. But you keep your fucking eyes and ears open. We're gonna be in touch from time to time. And we'll expect to hear what's going on and who's doing who. I hear that's your specialty. You do that, and we've squared away for Rubenstein.
Yeah, I can do that, man. I can definitely do that. You bet. Yeah. Shit, yeah. Oh, totally. I can fucking let you know anything. Hey, listen, I gotta...
Yeah, good. Fuck off.
Yeah, cool. I'm gonna get going.
Sometime later, Hughie and Butcher eat at a diner. Well, Butcher does. Hughie doesn't have an appetite. Butcher asks if it's because they let the super homophobe off lightly. But Hughie says that he knows Butcher will make Swingwing's life a living hell. Then Butcher reveals that the Legend doesn't even have a sister. He proposes that maybe Legend just saw a report about Steven Rubenstein and figured that there was a soup angle in it. Maybe he's like Hughie and wants to bring justice, but is too scared to admit that he uses the nasty tactics. Or maybe he's just a fucker who likes to torture superheroes. Then he puts a little screw from Swingwing's jetpack on the table and says that Hughie did quite well on this mission. And as a special reward, Butcher is letting him pay for breakfast. And it's later revealed that Swingwing's jetpack broke down midair, causing him to crash into the river, where he floated for a little bit, I guess, until he was run over by the Staten Island ferry.
I used to be the Tek-Knight, and now I'm nobody. I'm just nothing at all. What? Look out! Ugh, it's the least I could do. It could have been far worse. Good lord!
Earth is caught in a meteor storm. The big one is on its way. It's recorded history.
God damn, it's the size of Texas!
Gentlemen, if it's got a hole, I can fuck it. Houston, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm getting a lot of breakup, a lot of static up here, but I see it. My God, it's huge. I'm homing in on the orifice coordinates now. I've got a lock. 10 seconds. 5. 1. Oh yeah, that's it, you fucking slut. Yeah, you're nice and fucking tight, that's what daddy likes. You feel that, bitch? Yeah, you
That's
do.
it,
I
Tek-Knight.
fucking know you do.
He's saving the world.
Oh, you're gonna come, aren't you? I
Tek-Knight.
fucked you good, and now you're gonna come. Oh, don't hold back, baby. I know you're gonna come. You know you're gonna come. Come on!
Tek-Knight, I know you can't hear this, but wherever you are now, I just want you to know, you did it, Tek-Knight. You saved the world. Look, apparently the coroner found a tumor the size of a fist in his head. Can you imagine that?
What, so the bloke that dropped the wheelbarrow actually did him a favor?
The end. Let me know what you thought of the comic in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Genv and The Boys? You excited for season 4 of The Boys? I am. I think the show's about to wrap up pretty soon, so I'm excited to see what goes on, how things fall apart completely. Oh yeah, there's also this like shorter arc that's tagged along in this volume, where the boys go to Moscow and are investigating this character named Little Nina, who in the show is that Russian mob boss woman that Frenchie has issues with and worked for in season 3. She was causing trouble and shit. She was hired by Vought to take like criminals and turn them into superheroes, and she was planning on taking over Russia, but of course that fails. And I think Vought just collects the superheroes or something like that. I figured that it's really not an interesting arc. Love Sausage appears in it, but the whole Tek-Knight storyline just comes to a close, and it's a pretty succinct story, so I felt that adding that on to this already fairly long video, probably not the best. It doesn't really... it doesn't have anything to do with what we just talked about or what we're going to talk about in the next video on The Boys, so who cares if I skip it. Yet another edition of The Boys comic series. The Boys show is far superior in pretty much every way to the comic. I've said it before, and I'll say it again right now. The Boys comic is like watching a race to see the car crashes and just getting a highlight reel of the wrecks. The Boys show is like actually watching a storyline unfold. There are some good character moments because Garth Ennis is a good writer. But at least for now, those aren't very present. There's a couple of them here and there, with what we saw, the back and forth between Hughie and Butcher and their, different points of view. Once Hughie starts dating Starlight, Annie January, then the comic gets a bit better because there's a little more going on. But for now, it's just purely, which superhero is Garth Ennis gonna shit on next? And, it takes a little bit to get to something a little more in-depth, I suppose. And, let's talk about Tek-Knight. Tek-Knight and Genv, really cool character. I like what they did with him. I like him better than the comic. I like comic Tek-Knight. He's neat while seemingly homophobic, in some way at least. He is still the best superhero in this universe. He's certainly the only one who's, courageous and, I guess, caring enough to the public at large. He saves that woman from that, construction site accident. He sends Ladio away to keep him safe. I don't know how safe, since he told him to go visit the G-Men. I guess it just goes to show that even if you are a good hero in the Boys universe, you're still a shithead. And like I said, I do prefer the Genv version of him. I just think what they did with that's just a really cool idea. This one, you know, he's just Batman, pretty much. He's exactly Batman, but with an Iron Man suit. Maybe the fact that he's not a horrible human is because doesn't have Compound V. I doubt it. I cut that part out. Although, now that I think about it, his name in Genv doesn't really make that much sense. Why does he go by Tek-Knight? That's not a name. What does that mean? Is, like, maybe because there's rumors that he's going to be in Season 4 of The Boys. Maybe the Amazon show version of him used to be a vigilante superhero crusader of the streets who was also the world's greatest detective / crime fighter, but now he just went corporate? Is that, like, sort of what they implied? I guess. That's the only thing that can make sense. Like, yo, yeah, he went public with his identity, and now Tek-Knight, the former superhero, is now a superstar. That seems very in line for what would happen with The Boys. But, yeah, that's really all I have to say. It's another issue of The Boys, that's for sure. It's fairly entertaining, I guess. You see a lot of just despicable human beings in this book. Yeah, let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. And as always, check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Smokey'sVideos for early access to content when available, exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes stuff, my comics, and my Etsy shop, where I am running a 25% off sale on all issues of Destructo Boy. That's about it. I will see you next time. Bye.